Hello mga ka-nerves! Gusto niyo bang malaman kung ano ang tingin ngayon ng buong mundo sa darating na eleksyon dito sa atin? Pwes, panoorin mo to.
Now, when the people of the Philippines vote for a new president on Monday, they'll be asked to think again about a family they drove out of power more than 30 years ago. Then, Ferdinand Marcos was branded a corrupt dictator. Now his son Bongbong is the front-runner in next week's election. Our Southeast Asia correspondent Jonathan Head reports.
She's a sitting vice president with a fine record of public service and no taint of corruption. On paper, Leni Robredo should be a dream candidate. Yet throughout this election, she's found herself trailing far behind the front runner.
People are saying this is among the most passionate campaigns ever seen in the Philippines. Thousands of these people have taken time off work, trying to narrow a lead taken by her rival, who's a man with a name, once a byword for greed and brutality, that ought in theory to make him unelectable.
I must soar above the turbulence.
It's been 36 years since President Marcos and his notorious wife Imelda were driven into exile by what's known here as the EDSA People Power Revolution. Now their son Bongbong wants to reverse history and retake the presidency. He may lack his father's charisma. The cheering here is as much for the entertainment that comes with every Filipino campaign. Yet he's way ahead in the polls. One reason, his alliance with this woman, Sara Duterte. Like her running mate, she's riding on the name of a famous father, the current president, Rodrigo Duterte.
If I'm going to put a number to it, at the very least 50% of how he's gotten this far. The Duterte machinery is strong. He's a well-loved president. So you cannot preach discontent. The people are not discontent. They're happy with the guy.
Leni Robredo supporters have been going door to door across the country to try to challenge the seductive Marcos narrative that now dominates social media, to see if they can change voters' minds before next Monday. It's a spirited effort, but they're running out of time. Jonathan Head, BBC News, Manila.
Well, let's go live to another of our correspondents in the Philippines, Howard Johnson. And I suppose staying with that question, Howard, how do we understand Ferdinand Marcos Jr., Bongbong's popularity, given that the older Marcoses plundered vast sums of money? And he says his father's rule was a golden age.
Well, what I've witnessed by being here in the last 5 years is the use of social media to retell that story, to effectively sanitize and whitewash all the worst parts of it, and to turn it on its head, and to say that this was a golden era for the country with big infrastructure projects in the name of the Marcos family. Here, it's all about personality politics. You inject your name into the big ticket projects like bridges and roads, and they're remembered because of your legacy and your time in office. In other countries, it's just publicly funded bridge or a publicly funded building. And so what the Marcos family have been doing is projecting this idea on TikTok, on Facebook, and we have to remember that half of the electorate here are under the age of 40, so many of them wouldn't have had any actual experience of living during the martial law era. And there's this constant drip message saying, talk to people from that period. They will tell you that times were really good. But on paper, the economy was on the brink in 1986 and heavily indebted to foreign banks.
And Howard, just tell us a little about what the build-up to the election has been like there. How tense have things got, given that one of the presidential candidates, the socialist leader, was shot at?
Well, the Philippines, their election periods are always fun and lively, lots of dancing, comedy and music. They're less about facts and more about feels, very in tune with this young population. But yes, there has been some violence, and there has been some allegations of vote buying, ballots being spoiled already, but these are being investigated by COMELEC, the Commission of Elections here. But what we are seeing is that people will be turning out to these big rallies this weekend to see the two front runners Bongbong Marcos and Lenny Robredo, the opposition politician who's faced a lot of trolling online over the last 5 years since President Rodrigo Duterte came to power. And this weekend they'll have their final rallies before Filipinos go to the polls on Monday morning. Polls open at 6 a.m. and close 7 p.m. and we can expect the results to come as early as 3 hours or 4 hours after the polls close.
Howard, thank you very much. Howard Johnson there, live in Manila.
O sa mga supporters dyan ni BBM, baka sabihin nyo na naman yung British Broadcasting Corporation or BBC ay pinayaran ng mga dilawan. Diba? Nakakahiya. Ang sinasabi ng mundo na sinuka na nga natin, kinain pa natin ulit. Nawawala na talaga tayo ng dangal bilang Pilipino. Pero ang maganda dyan, sa mainan pa yung elections, may power ka pa na ibahin ang pagtingin ng mundo sa Pilipinas. Kaya gamitin yung power mo to vote, mili ka ng tamang tao. Gumising ka na. It's not too late. Kayo nang humusga, kayo nang mag-judge. The nerve.